I'm up right now. Bitch, I'm up right now. Ain't never coming down.
Check out a Whole Lotta Cash podcast. YouTube, it's near you.
They can suck my dick. Ain't never gonna
Go check out that podcast, Whole Lotta Cash. A lot of street shit on there, a lot of good information. Everybody tune in.
Be aware, any attempt to add a third party to any call from Illinois DOC will result in inmate disciplinary actions.
Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Yo, welcome to a Whole Lotta Cash. I want every last one of y'all to get a bag, but you ain't got to crash. You know, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Supercharged, how you feeling today, bro?
Man, I'm good. Blessed morning, bro. How you?
We hanging in there, man. Let's not waste a lot of time. You know, we under the restraints of this phone time. I know the last time we talked about the conditions of the prison physically, you know, the things that, you know, lack of running water, flooding toilets, things of that nature. But you know, prison is miserable no matter how you spin it, right? So how do you think those conditions are affecting the average inmate in there, being that it's even less humane than it should be?
Imagine already not being given a fuck about, right? And then you find yourself in a situation like this because your idea of the world is they don't give a fuck about me anyway, right?
Right.
So you come to this situation and you see that these people are responsible for your well-being, right? They're responsible for your health care. They're responsible for the food that you're supposed to eat to nourish yourself. You know, they're responsible for the living space. And it's not up to par, right? The idea that pops in your head now is like, no matter what I do, I'm not going to be given a fuck about, right? So what happens is guys start treating themselves as less important. I'm not saying everybody, but these young guys coming in, their idea of prison is like, man, they don't care what I do. So you got some guys that might not comb his hair today. You got some guys that might not get in the shower because oh man, the shower's nasty. What I'm gonna get in there for? Well, you gotta clean yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like,
right. Back when I was in there, we always had those types of individuals. You know, we had those types of individuals who was depressed about being locked up. We had those that, like you said, they didn't want to wash their ass. They didn't want to brush their teeth. But they didn't want to do anything, but yet they got to live amongst these guys. So certain rules set by certain organizations that would make sure that those individuals, at least if they was a part of that, they would make sure that, you know, you're going to get in the shower, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Are you telling me that the organizations got less control over their members these days?
So I won't specifically say it's that, right? Okay, so there's a difference in the max prisons, and then you got the medium max prisons. You know what I'm saying? So I've been in a max prison for, I was in Menard for roughly 16 years, right?
Okay.
And very structured, you know, guys was on point, doing what they needed to do because they was like, man, if I don't do it, there's a consequence for this, right? And you didn't see a lot of foolishness. Everything ran smooth without a hitch, you know. Handling business. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Here, it's different. There is no structure. So you just got a bunch of kids, you know, for lack of a better word, running around doing any and everything. And, you know, me being the OG now, you know, I guess I'm considered the OG now. They call me school, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, they see the grin in my beard, and I'm like, man, motherfucker, I'll dust your ass off. But anyway, you know, I try to tell them, like, look, man, like, this ain't how it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all supposed to stand on top of y'all business because you want to be presentable in any situation, right?
Right.
Not only that, but it's about the integrity and the dignity and the pride. Don't let them take that from you. You know what I'm saying? So you got some younger cats, you know, they'll listen to me, you know what I'm saying? Then you got those who don't, you know what I'm saying? You know the old saying, you let sleeping dogs lie, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, this place gives you every opportunity to ball up and say fuck it and basically like psychologically die. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys, they hooked on the medications. They trying to narcotize their depressions, narcotize all their problems.
And that shit be different though, because that shit ain't dosed right. You feel me? So I only ever seen that when I was in the joint, like people taking these psychotropic meds. You know where we come from, the only meds niggas was on, the shit motherfuckers was getting out the streets. So my only experience of watching individuals get dosed with psychotropic drugs was in the penitentiary, and they not dosed right. So, and I know you can attest to this, that shit turned them niggas into zombies, real life walking zombies. I'm talking about can't talk or nothing.
Yeah, man. Like, and they give them enough of it too, like.
But since they're not dosing it correctly, do you think that's because of a lack of resources, or do you think that's purposefully, right? Or it's just the fact that they don't care?
They don't care, man. Like, okay, so I'm gonna give you two examples, right? A lot of these guys, they try to get the SMI status. If you don't know what SMI is, it's severely mentally ill. They try to get that status because having that status helps them to buck the system, so to speak. Like, they don't go to SIG for long periods of time. You know, and even when they in SIG, you know, you got the mental health people coming talking to them and letting them out of their cells and all that. But it's also to get the medication, right? They don't even need the medication, but they're getting it because they want to get high. They're trying to look for the escape, right? And then on the other hand, you got guys that really need it. So look, right, the guy that is SMI, he might be able to get a hold to the medications quicker than the guys who need them, right? That sounds crazy, right?
That's super crazy. But they looked upon as protected people once they get the SMI status, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. So look, right, just recently, a friend of mine, you know, good guy, Gil, may he rest in peace. I listened to him. I was on the C-grade wing. You don't know what the C-grade wing, and I don't think they had the C-grade wing when you were here.
No, but I know what C-grade is though.
Yeah, the C-grade wing is like a step up from going to actual segregation. And he was my next door neighbor, you know, good guy, you know, but he struggled with, you know, mental illness. Now, I'm not sure exactly what medication they had him on, but he wasn't getting it, you know what I'm saying? And he would complain every day. I'm not getting my medication. The nurse not bringing me my medication back here. Oh, I'm feeling like I want to kill myself. You know, he's saying these things to him, and they're barely getting them the help. Like, no, there's nothing wrong with you, man. Lay down, go to sleep. You know, they'll bring you your meds when they can, and all this stuff. And literally, maybe 2 weeks ago, he actually hung himself. You see what I'm saying? He actually hung himself. But for weeks, I watched him tell these people, like, I need help, man. You know, these are the type of things that we deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't taken serious on a daily basis. Like, they don't look at us like we're urgent. You know what I'm saying? They're charged with our care, but they don't feel like it's the necessary thing to do. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get it. For sure I get it. And you know what? It's going to be a lot of my followers that get it. A lot of my followers understand, because a lot of my followers have been in these circumstances and positions before. But I'm going to play devil's advocate just for a second. And I'm just going to ask, what do you say to those super conservative types of people who would say, man, you in prison? This is what it's supposed to be like. Deal with it.
What I would say is, they're absolutely right. I'm in prison, and I know that I'm not at some high-class hotel, Airbnb. We know that. But at the same time, there's laws that govern you, and you're supposed to use those laws that govern you to govern me. So if you're slacking on your job, then how would you expect me to be the so-called model inmate, or, you know, at least give a fuck about any of your rules in the first place? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's laws that IDOC has in place, and they don't follow them. The whole pandemic, and this is just an example, the whole pandemic, we were locked in the cell. They were letting us out 15 minutes a day. Well, every 3 days, 15 minutes every 3 days, right? So the whole time, you know, there was laws set up that said, look, well, y'all got to find ways to get these guys out the cell time, you know, a certain amount of out the cell time. We wasn't getting it. Y'all got to find ways to get these guys some exercise because they're going to be in the cell a lot more, right? We never got the exercise time. You know, they would give us 15 minutes, use the phone, or you can get in the shower. The reason why I say this is, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because right after the pandemic kind of died down and you know, people started coming back outside, you know what I'm saying? They started running yards down here, and guys were getting injured left and right. Now, I know you like, man, what the hell does that got to do with anything? They stuffed us in the cell and let our bodies deteriorate, bro. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They didn't care, even though they complained, you know, the whole time, like, I don't want to be locked in my home. I want to go back out. You know what I'm saying? But they did the same thing to us. You know what I'm saying? And let our bodies deteriorate, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is the mind state these people have. You know, so.
No, just off the strip, that the fact that you just spoke on that, I'm gonna say this because that used to piss me off back then, right? When the lockdown was going on. Because these people would literally be crying. I think motherfuckers done killed themselves. Motherfuckers definitely for sure and threatened to kill themselves because of this so-called lockdown. They couldn't go outside the house. You feel what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I'm like, man, what? Like, I'm in the crib. Like, I got whatever the fuck I want. Like, I ain't never complaining. You feel what I'm saying? So, no, that's incomparable based on what y'all was in them 6x9 cells for months at a time, and somebody ought to have to answer for that shit, despite of whatever was going on the outside. Nah, that shit inhumane.
Yeah, man, they didn't give a fuck, and we do that, but you know we got through it though. You know,
of course.
One thing that people need to know about guys in prison is, man, we get through things pretty well, man. Like when you've been going as long as I have, like it becomes a lot easier to get over things fast. But yeah, for those who are just experienced in prison, man, it's like, man, we had to carry them because they was like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, did you see the other day, Chris Cuomo did this special? It was about crime in America. You got a chance to see that?
The town hall meeting.
Yeah, the town hall meeting. Yeah, for sure. Did you peep how the conservatives, they stuck to their Reagan era views on crime? But it was a few other politicians. I guess they was more left-leaning. They spoke about approaching it from an economic standpoint, amongst other things. One thing that they stood on for sure, a society cannot jail its way out of a criminal epidemic. What did you think about that? Because I know if you watch this, you got something to say about it because it touched on some key points.
They're absolutely right. You can't jail your way out of, you know, crime. But when you think about why people do crimes, you might be able to find, like, deterrence, right? So let's just go down a quick list, right? Why do you think people sell drugs?
Because they're in poverty.
Why do you think women prostitute?
Same reason they're in poverty.
Why do you think people rob people? Like, why do they do burglaries? All leads back to basically they need money, right? Now, I know everybody ain't out there selling drugs and doing burglaries and stealing old ladies' purses, and I know they're not doing that simply because they're trying to feed themselves that night. But in a nutshell, everything relates back to poverty. Even the reason why people start getting high and getting drunk, you know what I'm saying? It's poverty. They ain't got nothing else to do. They ain't got nothing else to live for. Like, everything is fucked up, so they want to release, right? If you want to stop crime, then you have to address the needs of the people, bro. That's just simple and plain. We got a lot of fuck what they need. We're going to keep taking away. We're going to take away from their public schools, and we're going to give this money to the Chicago police and to IDOC so they can band-aid these prisons and keep them running, right? Bill O'Reilly said some dumbass shit, and he was talking about, poverty is not the reason why people commit crimes. It's cultural, right? So when he said that, what I heard was basically in brown and black communities, we have a culture of violence. This is just what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reasoning behind it or nothing. This is just what we do, right? He gave the example that just look at the Great Depression. When the Great Depression was going on, crime was down. You know what I'm saying? This is his standpoint. Crime was down. Well, Bill O'Reilly, I would like to use some logic with you. During the Great
You
Depression.
have 1 minute left.
Ain't that about a bitch?
You know it.
During the Great
know.
Depression, everybody was broke. So if everybody is broke, who am I robbing? Who am I taking from? You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Everybody's broke.
So I'm gonna have you back. We're gonna wrap this up on the part 3. We're gonna talk about some more shit, but I'm glad we touched on this. We out, Cash.
These puss ass niggas, I tell you, they gon' whisper your accomplishments and scream your failures.